going through something. If you watch Good Day LA at all, you know that Doug Luzader is a terrific journalist. We turn to him all the time, almost every day, to help us make sense of what is going on in the machine that runs Washington, D.C. If you watch regularly, you probably also know that Doug is a true blue girl dad. There he is with his girls. That's his wife, Jennifer Suzara, and their daughters, Kyla and Marina. In fact, we've met the girls a little bit on the show. Really a beautiful family, obviously filled with love. What you probably don't know is that for the last 2 years, they've been on a roller coaster of emotions that Jennifer refers to as fear, trauma, pain, sadness, hope, and joy. It began in January of 2020 when Kyla, their littlest, was diagnosed with epilepsy. Spent weeks in the hospital in that bed. An incredible ordeal. We'll talk about all of it, but first we want to show you that Kyla is doing great now.
How fast can you run? How fast can you run?
Look at little Nugget go. And by the way, Kyla, I keep hitting Kayla because I feel like she's mine. This is a little nugget with not a care in the world, seemingly, right? Well, Doug and his beautiful wife, Jennifer, join us now. Jennifer, we brought you to work today. I apologize for that, but I know it is something that you wanted to do, and Doug, you know how much I respect and adore you. We just felt like we needed to help shine a light on this month. Why don't we start at the beginning, Doug? You're at work, you're on a big story, and the phone rings.
Yeah, it was the first day of then-President Trump's impeachment trial, and I was on Capitol Hill doing a live shot. And at the same time, Jen is at home with her kids, and Kyla is then almost four, but she was 3. She heard a thud and went downstairs, and Kyla had fallen off of her chair while she was having breakfast, and she was convulsing on the floor. And so Jen called 911 and then called me at work, and then I rushed home, and I'm watching this video feed of the the camera outside of our house as the paramedics go into the house. I mean, it was jarring, and as I said in the piece that I wrote on this, it was just the beginning of a journey that we're really still on. You really are still on this journey, and anybody that has gone through this understands that as a journey. Jennifer, so you're at home, this has happening, it's a parent's worst nightmare seeing your child fall ill, and you get to the hospital, the doctors give you news, and at that point it was devastating.
Absolutely. When we got to the hospital, you know, every second that passes, you think, okay, this is going to get better. This has to get better. And we were in the emergency room for hours, and it was not getting better. And we just started seeing Kyla seize more and just getting worse, progressively getting worse. So it was a very, very dark time for all of us, including our older daughter, who at the time was 6. And so, you know, looking back, it was a very traumatizing time, but we're happy to be here now to show that things are much better today.
Much better today, but by the way, and Doug, and this is an important thing to say, is that you along the way, you didn't know what to make of all of this. You were brand new to the world of epilepsy. You were brand new to seeing your otherwise very healthy, very active little one suddenly not at all.
And that's the thing, Michaela, it was like a switch had flipped. And suddenly we had a very sick child. And, you know, epilepsy covers a whole waterfront of issues. And most people have epilepsy. They might have an occasional seizure. Medications are really good for that. I mean, there are people that lead, you know, most people with epilepsy, that, as I said in the piece, live very productive lives. And it's just kind of a side thing that also they're battling this. What Kyla had was multiple seizures that would not relent, and she was having upwards of 20 seizures a day. And she was initially diagnosed with a specific condition that meant likely cognitive decline, significant cognitive decline, and a lifetime of dependence. And that was the preliminary diagnosis that we kind of had, you know, it kind of had to sink in for a little while. before we found some additional answers.
Well, and the answers that you found, I understand, tested a guy who believes in science and research and what have you. It was in the kitchen, Jen, and briefly you can tell us, like, doctors actually suggested changing her diet. And for you, and we agree, this is what is working for you guys right now. We're not suggesting that this is for everybody, but it was sort of a Hail Mary approach.
It was, yes. So Kyla's on a medical ketogenic diet, which has shown to be very effective for this particular syndrome that she has. And it took a while. It took us, I want to say, 5 months before the diet actually kicked in. And during that time, it was a lot of trial and error. A lot of frustration, a lot of tears in the kitchen from us and from Kyla. But in the end, it's what we believe has helped her, and she's thriving today because of it.
Yeah, when medications don't work, and for most people medications work with epilepsy, but for some kids, for some adults, they do not work. And they tried one after another, and that's when they finally said, you know what, let's try the ketogenic diet. It has a track record of working oftentimes when medications don't. Yeah. And for Kyla, it was the answer, and she is still on the diet today.
And wearing a hat like a boss, let me just say. Look at her there. You know, oftentimes these things can put such strain on the family. We know that there is a strong bond between the two of you. We see it, and we see it with your kids. Doug, thank you so much for allowing us to dive into that aspect of your life, not just the guy in Washington on the Hill telling these stories, but also allowing our family to be part of yours. And Jen, my heart is just with you for just getting through this as a mom only can, right? A mama bear will do whatever she can to keep those cubs safe, and you've just done a brilliant job, hon. And put up with this fella, too, by the way.
I know. This one's hard. Yeah. Thank you so much, Michaela.
Are you kidding me? This was a delight for us to do. We just wish you all nothing but the best. And give Kyla a big squeeze from Auntie Michaela, okay? If you want to read the beautiful account that Doug wrote about in the journey, and you can also get more information on the keto diet that's been working for Kyla. And of course, there's information if you and your loved ones are struggling with epilepsy. If you go to our website, foxla.com/links, you'll see a banner right there. Look at that beautiful family.